welcome back. I'm Gary Parr.
And I'm Beth Ellicott.
And this is the midweek version of the Fiber Talk podcast for needlework artists. Tonight, Beth, Jennifer, and I are going to, we're going to stitch and chat is what we're going to do. And we're going to focus on tools. We've had at least one person, maybe two, who have asked about us to talk about tools. We talked a little bit about it the last time we did this kind of a show, and so we're going to do more of that tonight. So if you have questions or comments, be in the audience. But yeah,
Let us know new things that we need to add to our tool stash. You know?
Right, yeah. Because Jennifer felt like beyond needle, thread, and scissors and her stands, she'd shown everything. And she hoped that you and I could fill in. And I
think so.
I looked over at my table. Yeah, we can.
Yeah. I was like, how can you just work with those things? I mean, right. Well, okay. We'll
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we got to have a conversation with Jennifer. She needs more tools.
Yes, I have to discuss this with her.
Yeah, she needs more stuff. Jennifer, come on.
That's right. Come on.
How do you do a stitch without this? So that'll be tonight. So join us for that. Remind you, everybody, of the Mary Jane Fry sampler, Mary Jane Fry 1861, that Amanda Rowe made available. And that reminds me that we have another one from Amanda Rowe that I need to get my act together and make that available. But WeTalkFiber.com/MJF1861 will download the chart for free, and then MJF's 1861 kit will get you to the page where Kim at Sassy Jacks has put together kits for you for that. It's a really nice sampler, so check that out. Speaking of Kim and Sassy Jacks, it's your fault.
It is not my fault.
It is your fault because you told me that Kim has Londonderry linen threads. It's your fault.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll take the blame for that one.
Yeah, you got to admit, you told me that she carries
I did.
it. I was innocent, did not know. And so then I wrote to her and I said, please send me some to play with.
And she did.
It's all your fault. 100%.
Well, I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry.
No, you're not, and I'm not either. So she sent me, this was interesting. I don't know anything about this Londonderry linen thread. So she sent me two sizes, two thicknesses. The 50/3, which she said is best for satin stitching. And then the 80/3, she says is best for other stitches.
So probably like wrapping or something?
I would guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, this would make sense. Okay, so I just got it yesterday, I think it was, and so I basically took them out of the bag and looked at them. So now that we talk about it, so if I'm going to use this, I would use this for heart hanger.
Correct.
So that makes sense. The 50/3 then I would use to make cluster blocks then.
Yes. And then the other one you'd use for wrapping. And I'm really curious about this because my problem with wrapping, you normally wrap with a small purl, like an 8 or a 12, depending on the size of your count. And it always slips. You pull it so tight and then you're going to maneuver someplace else. And then the whole, that wrapping kind of becomes bigger and you're like, wait, what did I do? And I know Yvette Stanton says that it kind of holds, doesn't it? It kind of grips.
Yeah.
Like it creases, like your linen clothes crease. So that way, I'm guessing it would hold better when you're doing wrapping.
Well, I would agree because looking at this thread, it is it has a sheen to it, but you can tell it's not a polished thread, so it's going to have some grab to it. So this could be a much better thread for hardanger because of that. Yes, because I agree. Sometimes, and the other part with pearl cotton is I always have trouble with it untwisting, so I'm forever trying to keep it twisted.
Yeah, right.
So this,
And you need to use a long enough length to get across something when you're doing wrapping.
right,
So it's not like you can say, "Oh, I'm just going to use a really short length." Well, no, because you got to have enough on your needle to wrap.
right, right. So yeah, so this is good. I have not played with it. I have not even unspooled any of it.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's very nice.
And I have to admit, I ordered some too, but it's waiting for my hardanger book.
Hmm.
So I think that I told her, I said, it's not like I don't have other things to play with. So just hold on until my book arrives. So
Right. Because now, all right. So what? Because we're both getting the new book from Yvette. What is that one? The Frieze.
The Frisian embroidery.
Yes. And then what
But
other
I
book are you
ordered
getting?
the early style hardanger.
Oh, okay. I already have that one. Yeah. Okay.
Well, see,
Because
had to
all the
catch
cool
up.
kids, have it.
Well, I was trying to behave myself. And that didn't work. That worked for about 5 minutes.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Because you are the queen of willpower. Yes.
Yes, I am.
So, okay. So when you get that book, then we're going to have to do something
Yes.
with the linen thread.
Yes.
Yes. So apparently,
Because
yes. So was it? You're the one that did the research. I just wrote to Kim and said, please send. Just select some and send. So she must carry the full line of the Londonderry.
I think she does. I think she does. And does she have colors? Some of the colors?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I have. She sent me a white and an ivory and cornflower. She sent me blues basically. A cornflower, bluebird, and blue bonnet. In each of the two sizes.
So, and I'm sure you have some sort of 28 count or 32 count linen to use.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you're ready.
This is not a problem. This is not a problem. I'm ready to play. So when you get your book, then we'll put our heads together and figure something out.
Yes, yes. Because I've been wanting to play with that, and I know that I've seen that hardanger book. I looked at it, and I'm like, oh, should I get this? And I'm like, now I'm just waiting for it. Now I'm impatiently waiting for it.
Mm-hmm. Patiently,
Mm-hmm.
Sure you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so that's it. So there's your package. There's your hardanger white work with color package right there. Londonderry linen thread. And books from Yvette Stanton, and you're good to go.
Yes.
All right. Because I was running out of projects, so this is good to have this in play.
Yeah, just because it's a nice one. Just to, I think you can do. I think you're supposed to be able to do hardanger in the car. The idea. Someone said that. That's my thought. I thought, well, I'll get a project, so if I ever happen to travel again. Yeah, right.
Someone said that. You can do hardanger in the car. Okay.
Yeah. Well, who told me that?
Okay.
Well, because you don't necessarily need to use a hoop. Some people don't hoop it. They just, because you're sewing it.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Don't believe me. All right.
Okay. Yeah. I want to be there when you try to wrap 8 dove's eye in a row in a car. I want to be there.
Well, I wouldn't cut my threads in the car.
Yeah. Okay. I want to see this in action.
So I'll have to videotape it.
Yes. Hang a GoPro from the ceiling of the car. We want to see this action bouncing along the road. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'll do mine in a hoop from a stand in my stitching corner. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's another thing that Kim has at the Sassy Jacks, the Londonderry linen thread. It's very nice. The colors are very nice. So, yeah, fun.
I didn't even think of ordering colors. I just told her to send me some.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, they're beautiful. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Something else.
Something else to do.
Yep. Sunday's guest, speaking of threads, look how this all ties together.
It's amazing.
See, we went from threads for a sampler to threads for Hardanger, and now Sunday's guest is Daniel Ravon, who is the CEO of Rainbow Gallery.
I'm looking forward to listening to that talk
That was fun.
because he has such interesting threads.
Yes. And I did it because the magazine I edit is a manufacturing magazine. So we talk quite a bit just about the process of making the threads. So it gives a little, because I was interested from my manufacturing magazine perspective. So it gives some insight into what goes into making those various threads and how they go about it and the machinery and stuff. So it was fun to talk to him about that. Yeah. And if you ever think for a minute that you know and have a sense of how many Rainbow Gallery threads they make, go look at their website. You don't have a clue. It's just,
No.
holy smokes. And you see those racks in stores and you think, well, that's a lot of thread. It's still not all. No. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, if you were a store and carried every color of every thread they made, that'd be a lot of retail space.
It would be. It would be.
Man. Yeah.
And they have, because I'm just, I'm thinking of all their fuzzy threads, and then they're their Splendor, their silk
Yep.
Splendor, which I actually like stitching with.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's very nice.
It's
Yep.
a nice thread.
And all the velvets, the petite, very velvets.
Oh, those are so fun.
Yeah. And there's a truckload of those in what, 2 or 3 sizes. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were 3 sizes. I only thought there were 2. And I just heard recently there are 3.
Yeah.
Which
is
amazing.
Yeah. Yep. Because that was the thing I took out of our first thread talk with Kathy Ray. That I didn't take out of it, but for me, the message out of all of that she took us through, the whole hour and a half of looking at different threads, is to keep in mind, everybody does. You tend to think of threads as only for needlepoint, only for cross stitch, and that's just not the case. Nobody said that you can only use cotton floss on cross stitch or
Right.
Rayon threads. If it'll go through the hole and look decent, use it. There's no
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Right. And some things, you might need to, use a bigger needle and, pull it through. It adds more texture. It adds the very petite, very velvet. When you said that, I would wonder if you kind of couched it on something and, stitched it across on a cross stitch
Mm-hmm.
piece on linen. How nice that would look on some of those band samplers that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
Just to add some variety, just to, do something a little different.
Yeah. Yeah, because all this that we've been talking about many times about making these pieces your own, there's so many threads that cross stitchers in particular never really consider. Yeah, take those things. Who said you can't couch it?
Right. Right. Or
yeah.
or even if you're finishing a piece, let's say you're finishing into a little pillow, taking some of the fun fibers and it's the right color, and you just add a little bit of embellishment instead of the pom-pom finish or whatever. You use some of the fun fibers to stitch with along the edges.
Yep. And go ahead.
It would just add another texture, something else, to do.
Yeah. And that's the other thing is particularly in the charted canvas world, doing layered stitches where you might have 2 or 3 threads in layers. Who says you can't do that on a cross stitch piece?
Right.
Put a second layer on it. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got a field of grass, and instead of just doing X's for the fence, couch a fence over the top and put some dimension to it.
Oh yeah.
I mean that any number of things would work for that kind of a thing.
All right, now you got me thinking to Spring Hill,
Uh-huh.
and you're going to do little French knots on your.
Right.
I'm wondering. Well, see, but I'm on that 45 count, and I'm not so sure because you've got to get it in. It's such a tiny and tight weave. I'm just wondering if something fuzzy would fit through there. But maybe even just a wool thread
Mm-hmm.
for those sheets.
Yeah. Yeah. Put a
You
little
you know
fuzz to
doing
them.
yeah, little fuzz.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Yeah. I mean, it's just there's so many threads available, and they get used in the needlepoint world to the nth degree. But there's nobody says you can't use them in other techniques. I mean,
right,
take advantage of them. Add some extra dimension to your pieces. And,
right.
and if you can't find something in Rainbow Gallery's lineup, I don't know.
Yeah, that, just so many beautiful threads. And,
Yeah,
yeah,
because you take that and then all the things that Kreinik has to offer, and you can couch that stuff down. You can
right, right.
use this stuff. Yeah, yeah. There's
Yeah.
no that was fun. I really enjoyed Kathy's presentation. If anybody's has not listened, it was it's the live video on the 17th, March 17 live video, just last Wednesday. It's an hour and a half. Kathy took us through all different kinds of threads and gave us a sense of how they relate and sizes and what works and what doesn't. It was really excellent, and I learned a lot from her.
Yeah, and people were commenting towards the end about even getting some of those. I have some of those threads, and some of those are taking some of those threads one color and just doing a doodle cloth with them, saying, okay, I'm going to stitch the brick stitch with these 3 different types of fibers and see what it looks like and see how I can use them maybe in a different way. Just starting to play with them.
Yep. Yeah.
I just wish I had. It's a matter of time for some of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I thought that was a great idea, because we tend to, you tend to collect blue threads. I tend to collect red threads, but taking those threads and all in one color and just saying, okay, I'm going to see what happens when I do this with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All the different varieties.
That's interesting. I had not pieced that together because, I mean, blue is my favorite color, so any variation of blue I'm interested in. But, yeah, you do the reds. I wonder how many people tend to collect a general set of colors. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, I wonder too.
Are there people who tend to collect greens? Like if I'm just going to buy some threads, like buying these Londonderry threads, just to see what they're like and to try them out, because that's the only reason I got them is I just want to see what they're like. So then, are there people who say, well, all right, give me a range of greens? That's interesting.
I know reds. If I'm going to buy a color and I'm not sure, I just want to try a thread out, I will buy red.
Yeah.
Always.
Okay, so all right, so to that then, do you tend to buy deeper reds, lighter reds, or whatever red?
All in the range. So
okay.
One time I was working on a piece and I was looking on the monitor and I couldn't decide. So I said, I contacted Kathy and I said, Kathy, I can't tell. And I need, I can't go to California to get thread. So this is what I think it is in DMC. And she said, well, that's the closest I can get is 3 colors. And I was like, so send me all 3.
Okay. Uh-huh. And you'll sort it out. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, all right. So here's the follow-up question to that then. Reds, and then of course, female pinks. Now, some women hate pink and some tolerate and some love pink. So does pink fall into your red range or is there some cutoff?
Yes, because if you're trying to do shades, you end up going to that pink side.
Okay.
If you need the full, because that's the only way to get a light color. But yeah, red's hard to get a light shade of, to get, because you've got the dark, you can get burgundy and cherry red. But then if you go the other way, you move into pinks. You have no choice. And I actually like pink.
Yeah, okay.
I never got out of that little girl pink stage.
Yeah, well, but that's, and pink is an interesting color to me, because of the reaction that women have to it. And see, it's also interesting to me because in the bicycle world, until recently, manufacturers kind of had a saying that if they were going to make a bike for women, it was pink it and shrink it. So paint it pink and make it smaller and then call it a woman's bike.
Oh, yeah.
But basically those were bikes built for men. Mm-hmm. They just made them smaller and then made women adapt. And then as more female racing came about and more women started doing particularly road biking, but biking of all kinds, and the bikes weren't fitting the female structure.
Right.
I'm sure longer legs, shorter torsos, that kind of thing. Then somebody came along and said, wait a minute, let me actually take some female bodies and design bikes to fit them.
Right.
And so that sets off a whole new thing. But so pink it and shrink it became a 4-letter word after a while. And then of course it was always put pink on it and women will buy it. Well, a lot of women want to throw up, so.
Right.
Yeah. It's an interesting color. Yeah.
Right. And some women really, just it's like, no, they don't like it at all.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you're right. To get into light reds, I mean, that becomes pink. So then at the other end, where do you go? If it starts to get into burgundy,
right.
And at some point we start to get into more purple look, is there some cutoff there for you?
No, because I do like that range. I like the fuchsia, violet red. In fact, when I stitch things, I stitch in that color range. It's easier actually I've done more things. Well, I shouldn't say more things. I think I was looking at my stitching and it's like almost half and half, that violet blue to blue range and then some things are just reds.
Yeah.
To the dark purple, but mainly, those are the two ranges I do. I don't do. In fact, my son was looking at it and he goes, "You have nothing in green, mother." And it's like, you're right. There's no green here, so I don't stitch in green.
Yeah. And see, I'm not a fan of green. I'll use it if it's necessary, but I'm not a fan of green. I tend to avoid it.
Right.
Just not a favorite color of mine.
Right. And it's not mine either. So when you look at your color wheel, a lot of times, like if you're doing something analogous, it's purple, blue, and it might move to that green. I use very little green. Mm-hmm. And I keep it more to the blue green.
Uh-huh.
Because I like it better.
Yeah. Yeah,
Green, no.
if it's got a healthy amount of blue in it, I'll be more receptive to a green, yeah.
But when it moves to that green, forest green, grass green, no. Yeah.
Only
no. And I don't know why. And but no, I think that, and I do buy greens. Yeah, we discussed this, right? But I don't have a lot of blues. Now, why don't I have a lot of blues?
Yeah, see, that's interesting. Yeah. Because, I mean, I know why I don't care for greens, because green color in my male red-green color blindness has given me fits my entire life. So I'm sure I don't like it on a couple of fronts. It's not a favorite color. I mean, I see green. People always think I'm a freak who can't see greens, but I see greens. I just struggle with the shades. And so I know it's not a favorite color, but it's also one that's given me struggles. So I just stay away from it. But yeah, I don't know why you don't do blues.
Yeah. Because I like blue. And and I think there's more. I have blue and DMC. I do have lots of blue DMC.
Yeah.
But I think that's because DMC has a good depth in it.
Yeah.
Of value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and and of course we're going to learn more about this as we take the Natalie Dupuy's Ode to the Palette
Uh,
class.
what is this? We
Oh, you didn't sign up?
have not signed up. I've resisted so hard. I have looked several times,
Oh, I
but I
was
have
sure you
resisted.
had signed up.
Yeah, right.
I
I
was
have been. Yeah, I'm still thinking about it.
I was
I can't
sure
put
you
too
had
much
signed
money.
up for that class. Oh, I'm sorry. I was sure of it.
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, so tempting, so tempting. That's going to be an excellent class because I think she will really teach color
Yeah. Yeah.
in a great way.
Yeah. Yeah, I've already picked my picked. Why I hate that word pick. I've already selected my painting because you have to choose a painting that you're going to deconstruct to make the project. And so it was an interesting exercise for me because Natalie is much more cultured than I am, so she looks at the masters, paintings
Hmm.
by the masters because she has culture, I don't. And so I was looking at a bunch of those. So it was fun. Just I spent way too much time. Uh, I just put up old masters paintings as a Google Images thing, and just started looking through them. And I thought, first I got to find something I actually care about.
Hmm.
And I struggled to do that. And one I guess he's a master, but certainly one who's well known, is Hieronymus Bosch. And I think I'm two behind the Harry Bosch detective series of books. And Harry Bosch, his full name is Hieronymus Bosch, and it comes from this painter who does very unusual paintings. And so I went to him and I thought, okay, I want to do one of his because I like his stuff. It's just weird. It's just weird, like warped mind stuff. But there was no. It wasn't like you could look at it and say, oh, this is mostly blues, or there wasn't colors that you could. And so then my mental process, well, wait a minute, why don't I look at abstract paintings and see what I find there? And so I did, and that's where I started to find stuff that I was thinking in terms of deconstructing, putting on a color wheel. I started to find things that, and so I ended up with Cubist stuff. And now I forgot. I had it in my head. Now I just forgot who it was. It's called The Guitar. Uh, Juan Gris,
Yeah,
Gris. Yes. And so that's the one I chose. And so it's big blocks of color, but there's lots of other subtle colors and some wood in there. And so I chose that one. But it was an interesting exercise. See, Natalie already is it's already having an effect because she just in selecting the painting, you go through and mentally I was choosing paintings. Can I deconstruct this? Will I get the colors out of it? What range of colors will I get? Will I get all blues? Well, I don't want that,
right.
because I don't learn anything from that. Um, I need colors that contrast and complementary and all that. And so that's where I ended up. It was just an interesting exercise. So that's where I ended up was with an abstract painting that just has a range and it really has very little blue in it. I was kind of surprised when I sat back and looked at it. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah, and you sent me an image of that, and I thought, yeah, that's a good choice for that class. And I was thinking, well, what would I do if I took the class? Now, my husband really doesn't like this artist, but it's Jean Baptiste. What's his last name? Jean Baptiste. I always butcher his name. And he's very modern. He was from New York, and I think he was a friend of Andy Warhol. But his artwork is very, very modern, um, and the colors are very garish.
Uh-huh.
But there's something that appeals to me about his work, like because it's kind of telling a story.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that would be kind of fun to pull the colors from that and see what they really are, just the colors.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've already
But
taken the first step in this class then. Excellent.
Even though I'm not taking it yet. I haven't signed up.
But you're already well into the class. Good job. Nice work, Beth. But it was interesting because, you know, when I looked at that class, and it's ode to the palette. It's sew by hand MTL. Just look up Natalie Dupuis, ode to the palette. You'll find it. And I've been putting links into the class, and I think there are some slots left in the class. But it's my first thought with that class was, all right, I want to learn about color, and then you make a Goldwork circular color wheel deconstructing a painting. And I thought, well, why don't we just take some colors and do that? But you have to select a painting. And then, well, all right, Natalie's, she's the expert here. We go for a ride. And then when you just this process of selecting the paintings was very instructive. So, you know, good job, Natalie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. She got me. She sucked me in. Yeah.
So, are you thinking about doing the ring, the Goldwork ring? Are you going to?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I'm all in. I'm all in. I have the Goldwork pieces coming from Kathy Ray, Needle in a Haystack. And then one piece I had to get from the lady in Canada whose name I can't remember again. One Goldwork thread I got from her coming. So, but yeah, I decided I'm going to go, but I'm going silver because you could go copper, gold, or silver as your Goldwork base. And I'm going silver because if you say to me gold or silver, I'll always go silver because I just like it better. Gold sometimes is just muddy to me, and I don't really like it. Which, you know, and our wedding rings are silver, are white gold, because I just like that silver look. And so, but for me, the silver then is neutral when it comes to the other colors. So I like that better. So that's what I'm going with. Yeah. See, Natalie's really I've already learned things, and we haven't even really started the class. So
yeah. So you're gonna learn tons.
Think about it. Yeah, and, you know, as we work through the class together, and you know, bounce ideas off each other, you know, we're really gonna, I think, advance the cause. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're so bad.
Yeah. So
it's not like I don't have a million things, you know.
No, it's going to be very educational. I mean, you're more advanced at color than I am by a long shot, but I'm confident you'll learn things, and then I'll learn from you too. You know, I'll learn from you and learn from Natalie, and it's going to be really beneficial. It's going to be great. Looking forward to it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, if you were here, I'd kick you under the table, but you know, you're just too far away.
The beauty of distance and electronics, right there. Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's like you're a little brother.
Yep.
Under the table.
Spot's still available. Mm-hmm. You raised an interesting question. It's a Bruce Lee quote you sent me. If you spend too much time thinking about a thing, you'll never get it done.
Mm-hmm.
So much truth to that.
Yes. So when I do stitching things, sometimes I overthink them. I'm working on a project now, and I worked on it, and I've gotten it to a point, and I'm like, I'm afraid to take the next step. It's an octopus picture that I dyed and was stitching for my son, but now I'm stuck because the octopus octopi are dark. And so I need to figure out how I'm going to make the background darker or make the octopus stand out more. And now I'm stuck. And so I'm just sitting and I'm just thinking about it. And part of me thinks, why don't I just start on it? Why don't I just work on it? It's just needle and thread. And so I'm kind of overthinking that piece. But the other side is, if I had taken time before I started on it and had done some pre-planning, I wouldn't be in this state in the first place. A friend of mine who's an artist suggested, she said, you didn't just take the image and color it in to see if the colors work together? And
don't you hate that? Don't you hate people who just come up with really practical things after you spent hours? Don't you just hate that?
Yes. And even, experimenting on a different piece of cloth with my dyeing, because I realized I like the back side of my dyeing better than the front side.
Uh-huh.
So if I had just flipped the silly piece of cloth over when I dyed it and dyed it the other direction, I would have liked it a whole lot better.
Yeah, those people. Well, why didn't you just do this? Shut up.
Well, thanks. Why didn't I talk to you before I started this project?
8 hours later of frustration. Oh, I could have colored it in. Jeez.
Right, and that would have been a brilliant idea.
Mm-hmm.
Doing a little pre-planning.
Yep. But I know what you mean, because see, I've been caught too. I've been caught through, and where it happens to me is figuring out stitch paths. That's one of my favorite parts when I'm stitching is, all right, where am I going to start and where am I going to go with the thread to get to point B or to get back to point A or whatever it is? What path am I going to use? And then how am I going to start the next thread? Will that path give me an anchor for the next thread, or do I need to pin stitch it? So I'll start in that whole mental journey, and 15, 20 minutes later, it's like I just feel like I should smack myself upside the head and say, will you just stitch some stuff instead of studying all this?
Right.
But it's that same kind of thing where you just overthinking it. Just start stitching. Just stop it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And even the, like we were talking earlier, the doodle cloth idea, why, I don't like taking the time to set up a project. I've got to admit that's my least favorite thing is gathering all the materials, setting up the frame or setting up the fabric and getting it ready to go. I don't like doing that. But I keep thinking what I ought to do is set up a piece of probably 18 count canvas, because I do like working on canvas, and like when I work with a thread, do a little doodle on that canvas and see what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But I hate taking the time to do that, and I know I would learn something if I did it.
Yeah.
I know that it's not that I mind learning. I just hate the setup part. It's the setting up that's stupid. That takes so much time.
See, that's interesting because I don't mind that. I don't mind the lining things up, reading through the chart, looking at areas of interest, areas that are going to be annoying to me, setting up the cloth. There's something relaxing about that part. I really don't mind it. I wouldn't, I'm not going to sign up and say, hey, anybody who wants me to set up your next project, give me a call. I'll be happy to do it. But I really don't mind it. It's like laying the foundation for the project. So,
yes. Yeah. And I don't like doing it at all. I don't. In fact, I know they say you should read through the entire instructions before you start on a project. I'm like, no,
not happening.
It's just not happening. Where's page 1? Where's the first stitch? Where am I supposed to start? Let's just go. Let's stitch.
Now see, and now, so I like to go through the thing. I mean, I'll sit down in the recliner and go through it and just kind of note different things. Oh, okay, we're going to use this color here and this color here, and maybe I'll do it in this order. I mean, I think about all that stuff. I don't know. That's weird.
No, I just like taking my needle and thread and going. In fact, even on the Spring Hill chart, I was like, oh, okay, I did the first page. Now, where's the rest of this? Where am I supposed to go next? Because I hadn't looked at the whole all the pages in the chart. So I was like, well, now where? I don't understand. And so it took me a little while to figure out what the next page was. It didn't take me too long, but
Yeah.
I didn't look ahead.
Time was invested. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
Because
just was
it's
stitching.
yeah, and you see different people. Like if we're ever able to get in a room with other needleworkers again, but you see different people have different approaches. Like for me, it's careful counting from the center to find the top center and the top left, and then so many people are just so happy to just basically eyeball 3 inches in, 3 inches down, and start. And
Yes.
oh, it just drive me nuts. But
No. Yeah. No. I just start. Yeah.
you're one of those. You just eyeball it and
Uh-huh.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, ugh, can't do that.
Actually, I do measure that. I do measure it because
Okay.
I know I'm not good with measurements, with distances. I can't eyeball things very well.
So
But yeah.
so those little corner pieces that you can get at really any stitch shop that
Yeah.
tell you 2 or 3 inches in and down, that's ideal
Hmm.
for you.
Perfect. And someone said that's the size of a Post-it note. Post notes are exactly
It
3 inches.
is. It is.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you just put one of those Post-it note packs there, and because I always have one. I do have that as part of my stitching area as a Post-it note pad, and I just find a pin and I stick it in, and you find the right thread, and away you go.
now it's more fun to have the wooden, carefully measured, tool.
Yeah, well, I'd have to find my tool to do that. The Post-it note pad, I know where that is. So
That had never occurred to me, but yeah, there it is,
yeah.
right there.
Hmm. My tip for the day.
There you go. No charge for that. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh
Right.
man, it's those simple things. It really is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and the interesting thing about this, if do you spend too much time thinking about a thing, you'll never get it done. But I think if you've got a designer, I think good designers have a balance of both. It seems like they do some planning, but then they're willing to just start. I'm thinking of Gay Ann Rogers. She was talking about pieces she was working on in the pandemic on her Facebook page, and she said she just she worked on it, but she didn't like it, so she ripped it all out because it just didn't work, even though she had planned it, even though she'd done some planning beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that willingness to take things out, to rip it out if it's not quite working
Yeah.
correctly.
What is it? Mike Tyson. Everybody has a plan till they get punched in the nose. Yeah. And then now you start. I would kill. Well, I wouldn't literally kill, but to be able to sit in a room with someone of Gay Ann Rogers' caliber and I would never say a word all day long, but just watch her design.
Yes.
I bet
Yes.
you would walk out of there with a notepad full of things.
Mm-hmm.
The really good designers, I bet you would see things that never crossed your mind.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Because just that. Okay, here's a plan. Nah, it doesn't work. She tears it all out.
Right.
And, if there was a little narration, it would help. But even then, you could see, all right, now let's see what she does with that. Oh, I see how that,
Mm-hmm.
round two then makes it come to life. And you go, okay, now I know why she ripped it out. Yeah.
Right. 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 Yeah. And even, how she decided to do all those layers on her queens in the background,
Yeah.
how she came to that conclusion while she was working on it.
Right. Yeah. And all the attempts that
Right.
were thrown away.
Right.
Yeah. And it gets back to that old thing about how, the experts, it looks like they do it right the first time every time, and you never see the 500 failures that went before
Right.
it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man,
Right.
it'd be so much fun to watch her work.
Right. Yeah.
You can just picture it. You can just picture it. Threads everywhere.
Right.
You know, just a thread, but there would be some organization to it, I'm sure. And just that mind and oh man.
Right. And choosing, we were talking about reds or colors, maybe the shade wasn't exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
She thought it would work, but then she placed it next to something she'd already stitched, and she was like, that's not going to work. I got to change that. I'm ripping it out and starting again.
Yep. Yep. And I got to believe that piece of Congress cloth, by the time she actually finishes a piece, has been worked over 6 ways to Sunday.
Yes. Yes.
That's the part. I don't even know how it's even a piece of Congress cloth when you hear her talk about taking it out and putting it back in.
Right.
I mean, because those things at some point they just start to break down and.
Right. And you just stored them too when you're when you pull your needle in and out, even when you're doing it just gently. It's
that'd be a show, wouldn't it? That would be a show.
Right.
Just okay. We have an audience, and Gayanne. Well, it can't be Gayanne because she won't be on camera. But just as an audience, you get to just be a fly on the wall and watch.
Right.
And you don't have any interaction with the designer, but the audience can interact.
Yeah.
And give their thoughts. That could be a fun show.
Yes.
Yeah.
And watch how they pick stitches or pick colors or decide what goes where.
Yeah. But you can't talk to them, and they can't talk. Okay.
So interrupt their flow.
Well, yeah, because you don't want that. You don't want that. You want them to just work.
Right.
And you can watch. I have to see if Debbie will do that. No way.
Yeah. Well, here, let me throw this out here. Ariane Zurcher is doing a Zoom class. We interviewed her a while ago, but she's doing an bleh, now I can't say it.
Improvisational?
Thank you.
No charge.
Class. And she's doing a workshop where I think it's weeks. She's going to guide you through doing that. Now that class is also tempting because that is scary. Taking an empty piece of cloth and making it into a piece of art with stitching. And so she says she will help you do that. And to me, that class and the color wheel class, why do they appeal to me? Because you're not necessarily, you'll have a project at the end. You'll have something at the end. But the information that goes into those classes, what you're going to learn about color, what you're going to learn about stitches, and I think you'd learn so much in either of those classes.
Yeah.
They're much more than just a project. I get something at the end of it.
Yeah.
I think it's the whole process of the class.
Right.
So even you don't finish anything at the end, you've learned so much just by taking them.
Yeah. Yeah. Who cares about the project? It's just the application of what you've learned. But
right.
Yeah.
Right. And then I think both of those classes, you'd learn so much that you'd be able to take into other pieces.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, when you do Natalie's class, are you going to do the circle thing?
You're bad. You're just bad.
But you're right. Ariane is even her live shows. People need to subscribe to her YouTube channel because she does that all the time. It's kind of a running commentary as she's stitching, and it's most interesting. I mean, she does not do the kind of stitching that interests me, but the process is just riveting to me.
Right, and that's right. It's because she says she's like the what if, So let's try this. Let's try this thread with this stitch. If it doesn't work, we'll just rip it out.
Yep.
She has no fear in that regard.
No.
And and how she composes it. She'll look at it and say, well, that's just not working. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to try this here to make it work.
Right.
And
right.
that's fascinating.
Yep.
That's fascinating.
Yep. Yeah, because that's the thing, and Gay Ann Rogers will say that to you. All right, you made a mistake. What are you going to do to make it look good? Or what are you going to do? Not rip it out, but what are you going to do to what follows to make it work?
Right.
Yeah, same kind of thing. Yeah. And
right.
yeah, she did that. Ariane did that the other day. I was watching one of her live things, and somebody asked about a stitch or a thread. And she said, well, let's try it. Picked it up, put it in there, kind of worked. Yeah.
You're right. Right. Yeah. And she'll say, well, this isn't maybe the best stitch for this thread, or maybe we should try this next time, but she's willing to try all that. And that's what's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. We gotta start a club, a what if club, something. Yeah. Encourage people to try. Yep.
Right. Right.
I think so. All right. All right, we're going to call it. I think we're just going to call it right here. Mm-hmm.
We're going to call it here?
I think we are. Okay. Yeah, we could go on for another hour.
Definitely.
Yeah, but no, we're stopping here. Okay, so tonight we're stitching and chatting. Bring your questions. Bring your comments. 8 o'clock Eastern time on the YouTube channel. Rainbow Gallery Threads CEO Daniel Ravan is Sunday. And Londonderry linen thread from Sassy Jack Stitchery. She has the whole line. Get some. Try it. You'll like it.
Yeah.
What do I know? I haven't even taken it off the spool, but I can tell I'm going to like it. Yeah. All right. That's it.
Play with.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.